All right, morning, folks. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University, a site for legacy, death, and taxes. And today we're going to be doing a donation deck list. We're going to be playing with some Painter. Let me make sure I've got this all on screen here. That'll do. Okay, so I'm sure you're familiar with the general game plan of Painter. It's a two-card combo where Painter Servant makes everything a color of your choice, pretty much always blue, and then you activate Grindstone to mill your opponent out. And it's a nice, easy win. So why am I re-exploring this deck list now? Well, A, it's a donation deck list. Thanks, Bentley, for supporting the stream. And B, recently, Karn the Great Creator got printed, and that allows Painter to do some interesting things. So first of all, like the big obvious thing is that now you can play 3 of your Painters and Grindstones in the main deck, and then put 1 in the sideboard. So it's sort of like you're effectively running 7 copies of each piece of your combo, which is really strong. And then B, it also gives you access to a whole bunch of random pieces of tutorable hate and or protection, and or random just degenerate I win the game piece. So you have access to 9 different cards in the sideboard that you can tutor for with Karn, which is really strong. 2 of which contribute to your primary game plan, 1 of which is sort of a 1-card win the game, and the rest help you out in various ways. The other new card that this deck list is exploring is Light Up the Stage as just a draw 2. Sometimes historically, Painter has run out of gas. Like, you don't really have very much card advantage. Like, you have combo, you have lock pieces, you have some things that trade 1 for 1, but you can't really get ahead ever. And now that the deck is running like more Planeswalkers and Recruiters and Light Up the Stage, like you start to get into this position where like you might have enough card advantage to like at least grind through some things. So other versions of Painter to like kind of make up like pre-Karn versions of Painter would have like a bunch more Imperial Recruiters in the sideboard. Ooh. Sci-Fi Emperor, hello, welcome back. Glad to catch you live. Let me turn down that notification level so it doesn't, make anyone deaf. Thank you for continuing to support the stream. Welcome back. Let's see, is there anything else really notable here? Not really. Let's just kind of like jump into some matches and see how this deck feels. Painter is something that historically I've thought is fun, but I haven't really played it a lot. I've kind of felt that it occupies a similar role as Red Prison does in the metagame, and in the past I've just felt like Red Prison's better. But a lot of people have been, whispering about Painter, saying, hey, this deck got a lot better. Is it actually viable now? So let's see if that's the case. We are playing against a Crab of Doom. So, the hand doesn't really do anything, but it might not be bad. So we have half the combo. I have a turn 3 Karn with an Ensnaring Bridge to protect it before or afterwards, depending on how it goes. I don't really have enough experience with this deck to know whether or not this is a mulligan. I think this hand is sketchy, but I think I will keep it. I don't think I'm going to need my own upkeep stop with this deck. I also don't know why I didn't play my Grindstone. I was busy removing my stop, but I guess it hides information, so we won't call it a misplay. Yeah, it was a misplay. Get super punished by my opponent playing a turn 1 Chalice. That would be a great start to this league. Oh no, it's just going to be lands. I'll presume that they now have a Life from the Loam in hand. Ooh, do they have an Exploration or a Mana Bond? Alright. So, no punish for the failure to play Grindstone on turn 1. Yeah, the Hackbert, this is, I think it was Repia's 5-0 list. I'll confirm that name in a minute. Oop. It was the most recent 5-0 that was posted. I think the list is interesting. I don't know that interesting means good, necessarily. But it caught my attention. I actually really like this pedal here. This pedal means that I can just, like, play my mountain this turn. And then my city next turn. I think I'm just gonna start plussing this rather than trying to, like, aggro Karn. I think it'll just be easier for me to try to win the game via either Mycosynth Lattice Lock or just find a Painter and win than it will be to just aggro my opponent out with a Karn. Morning, Hell Clan. Because if I just try to, like, aggro out with Karn, if I minus this turn, it's just a 2-2, and if they have a Punishing Fire, like, that dies. And, like, then if I minus again, my Karn's gonna die. I'd rather just, like, keep this around. My opponent can't pressure it. Once I get an Ensnaring Bridge into play, it would become very difficult for them to actually answer my... or, like, to just win the game. Moon is great. Let's plus the Karn first. Probably getting an Ancient Tomb. Yeah, I don't play enough Painter to know whether, like, the red-white, you know, often traditionally referred to as strawberry shortcake Painter is better than this mono red build. But I thought this build was really interesting. Like, it's Karn, yeah, that's about what I expected to happen there. So, like, it's such a good toolbox deck. Alright, so the thing about this deck is a lot of times you end up just leaving stuff in the sideboard to wish for it. Like, Tormod's Crypt would be a great card to board in, but if I leave it in the board, I have 4 copies to look for with Karn. So, like, I'll probably leave that there. Similarly, I might leave the bridge. I might just board in the Spyglass. I'd consider just boarding in more copies of these things as well. I might board in the Relic, though. And would consider just Koth. Or wait, does it start at 3 loyalty? No, it starts at 3 loyalty. I thought it was just, like, plus, and then you can minus immediately. I take that back. Oh, Spatula of Ages, thank you for following. Alright, so I don't necessarily think I want my Goblin Welders. It gets my artifacts back, which is cool, but it's just going to die to Punishing Fires or Barbarian Rings or any number of other things. Like 3 toughness creatures are much, much, much better. So I think that'll give me a Relic and a Spyglass. And I would be fine with playing most of the rest of my cards. Like, I think I want to leave these 3 cards on the sideboard to wish for, and like, I could just naturally board some more of these in, but I don't know that it's actually necessary, and I don't know that there's anything else that I really need to board out. Consider boarding out Grim Monolith. Like, I don't feel like I necessarily need to be fast here. And the big thing that Grim Monolith does in this deck is either let you, like, power out Karn, or, like, something like Bridge a turn earlier, or, like, serves as a bridge to get you to Mycosynth Lattice. I think I'm just going to whack Submit here. Oh yeah, I'm totally with you. Crab of Doom is an awesome username. So my hand is slow, but fine. Like, I effectively have both pieces of the combo in hand. So, like, I get to make a Karn on turn 3, and then on turn 4, I get to minus get Painter, put Painter in play, and have protection. This is the one thing that I was afraid of, so we need to draw Ensnaring Bridge this turn. Or have my opponent be bad. My opponent being bad would also be acceptable. So if they just respond to this right here by making a Merit Lodge, I'm dead. Oh, I am not dead. Nice. Grindstone is 3 to activate, so I'll win next turn. Really happy that I went from, like, 100% dead on board to winning due to my opponent's error there. So now they have to take Painter Servant off the battlefield, like via something like a Krosan Grip, or I win. If they do take it off the battlefield, I, like, Karn minus, get another Painter, and then try again. Okay, so they can crop rotation for a Wasteland my city, and buy a turn. Is there any way they can beat this? If I just go for it now, they can... If their last card is Krosan Grip, they can Krosan Grip my Painter, and I'm sad. I could just wait a turn. Waiting a turn gives them one more chance to... I can't counter Corrosive Grip anyway. What am I talking about? Like, YOLO. Get them. Okay, well, that was a quick match. Yeah, so let's talk about the list a little bit more. Okay, I should turn back on the sound notification for this. I think it's either general or alerts. Yeah, I am going to do some sort of set review, stream, or article, or something. I haven't decided what. We don't have reasonable mana here. I'm going to mulligan this one. Ugh. In what world am I happy with this hand? If I scry a mountain to the top, I have Recruiter for Painter, and I have both sides of the combo. If I scry a Soul Land to the top, I get turn 2 Karn, which is great. I'm going to Stone Cold die to a Wasteland. And if I miss on a land for more than one turn, I probably die. I think this is a very, very reluctant keep. So Karate Dom, sort of fun fact, the way we spell Soul Land is S-O-L, because Soul Land is a reference to Soul Ring, which was S-O-L, space R-I-N-G. So it's not soul as in, like, the spirit, the mind. It's soul referencing another card. There's your magic factoid of the day. So it looks like we're probably playing against Sneak and Show. Like, it could be something else. Like, it still could be ants. Let's kill your Lotus Petal. I don't really know what I want to minus for yet. I'd like to see another card from my opponent before I make that decision. Alright, so smells like ant. If they don't go off here without artifact mana, I get to go and just, like, minus get Tronosphere and probably win the game. Ah, the test with Bayou, of course, of course. Actually, do I just win the game? How much does Painter cost? 2. So 2, 3, activate, win target game. Morning. You're just in time to watch me bully people. And white faces, yeah, you're probably right. Like, the plan to hedge against show and tell is probably better. Like, you give up some ground if it is ant, but, like, it's ground that doesn't really matter. The play I made was, like, a play that didn't actually impact the board in a meaningful way unless the Karn leaves anyway. Okay, so we're playing against ant. Crypt can come in. Relic can come in. Might play another blast. It's kind of questionable. I will definitely board in one Trinisphere. I might leave the second in the board, just as a wish target. And I would consider naturally boarding in pieces of the combo to just, like, try to be faster. But we'll kind of see where we're at in terms of, like, in-out numbers. Notably, an early morning grind. Rough. Alright, notably, my opponent showed me Bayou, meaning that they're going to have Abrupt Decay in the board, so Goblin Welder is not, like, dead. It's just bad. I'll still probably end up boarding that out. I don't see myself really needing to light up the stages. Like, my first couple of cards are either going to win the game or they're not. That's kind of how this matchup is going to go in all likelihood. So I can see those going. And Ensnaring Bridge, not at its best in this matchup. If I pull anything else from here, it would be to put more copies of Painter Servant or Grindstone into the deck. Crater Maker's kind of medium. It can blow up artifacts that get played out, but so the Hackbert, what do I want to wish for to beat Ant? The answer is probably Trinisphere, right? In 90% of the scenarios, like, the card that I would want to wish for to poop on this deck is Trinisphere. So if I leave these in the sideboard, it's actually just actively bad for me. That's kind of the way that works. I'm going to pull the Crater Maker out for a Painter Servant and then a Chandra for a Grindstone. So, like, yes, you want the flexibility to have answers in the board, but you really only want to leave, like, your best card plus maybe some other options. This hand is great. Got some flexibility in how it plays out. If we're just getting Thoughtseize here, I'm probably losing the Painter. I'm not losing the Painter. It's not necessarily just about... Fly. It's not necessarily just about early. It's also about quality. You want to be able to take the worst cards out of your deck, but at the same time, you want to leave your best tutor target in the sideboard. So you kind of end up in this weird middle ground sometimes where you board in your medium to good cards, but leave out your absolute best cards. Alright, looks like our opponent should have a very easy Past in Flames kill here. Darker it, Infernal. Yeah, they got it. Why did they crack for blue? Just for giggles. Morning, Agate. Yeah, so like just to visually talk about the Karn, this is what we're going to wish for most of the time. This is what we wish for if we have time and we can win the game. Do I need any other targets other than those in the board? No. So I would rather be going and removing my weaker cards and filling them in with some of my good to medium cards so that I have less dead weight in the main deck. Yes, I decrease the range that this card has, but this doesn't need range in the post-sideboard games. It's very, very targeted what you want. This hand kind of feels like a trap. Like, I can blast a cantrip, I can play a turn 2 Blood Moon, which isn't necessarily going to be good. I think I can do better than this. This is not great either. Like, I really just want a hand that can produce a Karn. Or has a Painter's Servant. I don't know about this one. Like, mulliganing any further puts me into the situation where opposing discard starts to be crippling. But I don't think this one's good. Yikes. Scry Soul Land. I think this this 4 was really the first keepable hand that we had, in all honesty. Like, I don't think the 7 could have won the game. The 6 was pretty questionable as well. Like, I'm just going to take that trade. You don't let the ant players brainstorm if you can afford to get rid of it, because it's just devastatingly good. Like, in that deck, when you get the ability to resculpt your hand to exactly what you need, it's rough. Yeah. So I expect to just die after this brainstorm. Why no LED on the board? I copied this list from a 5.0 list, but honestly, I don't think this is a deck that needs the LED, because most of the time, like, if you play a Karn in the mid-game anyway, you can just fish out a Painter's Servant kill just as easily. So since there's less reliance on the Microsynth Lattice kill, the LED becomes less necessary. Yeah, Hackbird, I definitely think it's winnable, but it's, like, very, very clearly worse than, like, say, Red Prison, right? Which is an obvious parallel, because you're lacking on the chalices, which is pretty big. And, like, your Red Blasts and Pyroblasts are just, like, so much worse than a chalice. You have to, like, hold up mana in order for them to be good. When we have less other early interaction too, we have fewer copies of Trinosphere. We don't have as swift of a clock. So, like, sure, you fall into the winnable territory, but, like, I think you're unfavored. Empty the Warrens is beatable. Soul Land this turn means that I can beat Empty. I just go Soul Land Painter, activate, dead. Oh, did you have, like, Past in Flames in hand? Jeez. Never mind. So now you just make a bunch of goblins. I think that is going to be more than 21 goblins, chat. Is that more than 21? Looks like more than 21. So if they didn't have the Past in Flames, we... Are you really not going to let me draw that card and see if it was a land to see if I could have, like, won? Dang it, Moto. Why are you so bad? And so addicting. Yeah, so, like, to just kind of, like, break down, like, what we were drawing to. Like, in game 1, we naturally comboed them. But if we, like, go and look at, like, what we actually want to hit, like, we want to basically hit Karn in the matchup from our main deck, right? Like, these blasts are okay, or assembling both sides of the combo is good, but, like, in game 1, this is really all we want to hit. And then in game 2, like, we sideboard in a few more cards. But if you compare that to, like, we have a Red Prison deck list up. This one's old, but, like, it'll show the point well. Whereas, like, in game 1, Red Prison has these 8 cards to hit. And even if you don't hit those, hitting one of these cards to just clock them and kill them in about 3 turns is probably a faster clock on average than Painter has with its combo. So, like, you end up way more prepared for game 1, and then for the post-sideboard games, like, You get Scab Clan Berserker, a little bit of extra graveyard hate. You can play the ley lines if you so choose, depending on what like your exact configuration looks like, and you end up in like a way better position. All that being said, Ant isn't actually all that good right now because of all the Karn Chalice decks that are running around. So, like, maybe that's a fine sacrifice to be making at this time. Cyrus, for example, has been talking about how he's been a little frustrated trying to play Ant on Moto. You know, he finally said something like, you know, after a whole bunch of losses in a row, I finally like played through a league with Cliffy, and like we finally got a 5-0. But like prior to that, he had been just taking an absolute beating. Oh, I know what I want to throw up on screen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 cards made Bob's list of playable things from the new set. Just like, let that sink in for a minute. That's a lot. That's not pretty good. That's absolutely insane. Also, is this hand good, by the way? Turn 3 combo with Pyroblast protection. Seems good. Beats Wasteland handily as well. Beats 1 counterspell. Yeah, I'm considering, like, SCG Con is next weekend, and I'm considering just, like, playing in some side events rather than just, like, sorry, I should rephrase that. Playing in some, like, pre-release events rather than just jamming Legacy all weekend, because the set looks, like, absolutely stellar. Like, there's a lot of really cool cards in that set. Yeah, Flusterstorm as a buy a box promo is pretty hot. If you fetch like a forest or a plains here, I feel like I've won. Nope, nope. So maybe Infect. I feel like I've won. Note, I don't think it's worth it to just like Pyroblast their land or Noble Hierarch there. Like, all I'm going to do is save this for something that kills me, or like interacts with my board. Yes, the Hackbird. Although, if I didn't have Pyroblasts in hand, I would consider just naming another color there to not give them, like, cards to pitch to Force of Will. So they need like a Pierce, a Daze, or a Force here. Which they have. Force Pitch Ponder. I wonder if they know they can pitch a land. Not that they necessarily have land. But, you know. So it looks like we're playing against, like, Noble Bant, like Bant, True Name Nemesis, Bant Stoneblade, something like that. Am I just hardcasting a Simian Spirit Guide? I think I am. And I think I'm okay with playing out a mountain so that I have Pyroblast up. Like, yes, now it can't hit everything, but... can still hit like a True Name. I don't really care too much about the Batterskull. I will go ahead and cast this here. I don't think it's worth playing out the land. Like, if we draw a mountain, it's just much, much better to play the mountain than the City of Traders. And at this point, I basically will trade blasts for any blue card aggressively. Well, this is pretty decent. Unfortunately, they have one fetch, so they'll be able to get an island. I'm going to get this one tiny little fly that's in my room eventually, and then I will be very happy. Yeah, I know there's still Noble Hierarch, but we greatly decrease the quality of their mana base. And if we end up, like, answering the Noble Hierarch somehow, great. Like, this is going to keep them from casting something like, say, True Name Nemesis. I also think if they have nothing to do... Oh, they are a Delver Shell. If I am given the opportunity to block with Simian Spirit Guide this turn, I will. Otherwise, they can, like, move the Batterskull to the Delver in following turns, and, like, this becomes a dead card. Fair. So prior to that Jitte hitting play, I was planning on milling myself for Goblin Welder reasons, but now Goblin Welder kind of becomes shut off. So now I guess I'm milling them for information. I'm really curious what their mana base looks like, by the way. Do they actually have basics of all three colors? So, we get this Delver trigger. If they flip, and I don't want them to have whatever it is, I can just mill it. I'm going to go ahead and blast that now. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about. Like, do they actually have Wasteland? I don't know that the answer is going to be yes if they have, like, Nobles plus True Name plus presumably 3 basics. Am I just dead on board? Cost them 1 Jitte counter to save the germ. There's nothing I can hit for a single mana. Yeah, alright, I am dead. Should have activated the Grindstone one more time to see if I could hit a Wasteland and just, like, confirm or deny that being there. Sudden Shock seems good. Reb seems okay. We'll probably play the Fiery Confluence. That needs to stay in the board. That'll stay in the board. Combo pieces will probably stay in the board, although I'd consider bringing them in. And Spyglass is, like, questionable whether or not I want to board that in or leave that in the board. How important is shutting off equipment? Or I guess, like, well, this gets, like, the Planeswalkers, too, if they're playing those in the sideboard. I think this needs to stay, but I'm not 100% sure. So between my stuff getting, like, countered and destroyed, I think Welder's fine here. I think actually connecting for Light Up the Stage is going to be hard. Magus of the Moon is probably questionable on the draw. Maybe they have enough color diversity where I don't want to go overboard on blasts. And, like, 6 blasts is fine. Split them, though. I would like to play first. That is altogether too much mana. YOLO. My opponent has Mold to 5. I have a land. That will go on top. I need that. So let's go land. Petal. And let's jam. Like, show me force of will. They did not show me force of will. Now, they do presumably have 3 basics, but on 5 cards, are they going to have one? Probably not. Alright, so now we just need to draw a payoff card. Like one of our Karns or our Chandras would be absolutely amazing. Even a red Elemental Blast is fine. Like, now if they get something, you know, if they get an island, I get to counter their thing. If they get a forest or... What do you have? You have a Jitte. That's fine. That does nothing currently. It does very much nothing currently. Alright, we have pivoted to the control/prison role. Yep. Oh, it just worked. Is this mean? It feels mean. It also feels 100% correct. I don't have an artifact land or anything like that, do I? No. Don't even care if this gets countered, because if it doesn't, it's so sweet. Yeah. Take that. I'm having fun now. Yes. Yes. That's what you all came here for, right? Liquid metal coating sinkhole every turn. Asgard, let me flip that question around. Why would I want a Voltaic key for the sideboard? Think about it that way. And ask yourself, is that going to be worth a slot? I have a lot of plays this turn. So I can Reb the Delver, I can Painter Lotus Petal, Reb the land. I think I want to just play this one a little slower. I feel like I have really good inevitability here. So I think I just want to go Mountain, draw out the days since I have Simian Spirit Guide. That's gross. Let's do it. I'm fine with playing a Lotus Petal into a Daze. That doesn't bother me. And I don't think I want to like accelerate the Painter out this turn and just like expose it to Swords to Plowshares so quickly. Best draw, unquestionably, would be a Blast. So that can play Karn with, like, Spirit Guide Blast backup. Would just be absolutely insane. I would accept Grindstone as a draw as well. Bridge is not good yet, but will be good later. What am I doing? That's the wrong deck. I'm kind of thinking about recruitering for a Crater Maker. And just, like, have access to that effect. Can take the Hierarch off the board with it. Or whatever other thing becomes more threatening than it, other than True Name. If I just jam the Karn, what am I even doing with it? I guess I can Karn, get Grindstone, cast Grindstone and Painter, and then just, like, actually try to win the game. That seems acceptable. Alright. So I have both pieces of the combo. I don't need to, like, play it into Daze this turn or anything. Like, I don't think my opponent has a Daze. If Karn probably would have gotten dazed, but like, I can still probably just use mana from lands to cast some of this stuff. And it doesn't matter if this is in play this turn or next turn. I think this was the best line. Like, there's, like, obviously with, like, Recruiter and Karn, there's tons and tons and tons of lines I could have taken. But kind of like, the biggest thing that determines quality of my lines is whether or not my next card is a land. Yeah, Karn for coding is the other line that makes, well, not like the only other line, but is another line that makes a lot of sense. Okay. This bridge isn't good yet. It will be. I can go Karn minus, get coding, use coding to blow up Stoneforge and just like buy time, but then that would let Noble Hierarch kill Karn. Unless I also use Simeon's Spirit Guide to put Painter Servant in play. Then that could block Hierarch. Oh, sorry, no, that trick only works for lands. Yeah, equal to its converted mana cost. Alright, strike that line. That line was dumb. Just saying, LED in the sideboard right here would be pretty clutch. Just like, wish for LED, play bridge, junk the hand. Rawr. I think I just want to start gumming up the board. Like, let's start with this. If they have a Force of Will, this basically has to get forced. Because they know I have the Grindstone. They're thinking... Surgical Extraction, Red Elemental Blast. Okay. That's a totally reasonable play. Hey, remember when I made that decision to split my Red Elemental Blasts and Pyroblasts? That looks smart. We'll let that make up for me talking about carning away a Stoneforge Mystic, right? That's legit. Please, opponent, just take a screenshot and move on. I don't know what they're thinking about now. Maybe they're thinking, I have Swords to Plowshare, so I can beat this if this hits the board. And yeah, I'll name blue. I still have some blasts. I'm fine with playing the Grindstone into Daze here. This is way more fun when Liquid Metal Coating is out, by the way. I don't think I want to turn Grindstone into an idiot. I want this to be a 1/3 so that it can attack a Stoneforge Mystic directly if it pops in. It's not actually that big of a deal that that gets tagged. Like, I have Imperial Recruiter or Karn for another. Or I can just naturally draw another. That's great, too. I just need more mana. Well, this is just like the exact same situation as last turn, right? So it's just the same situation twice, not really two different situations. But like, let's keep in mind here, the only reason that I want it in the sideboard is because I have 2 lands. And I'm stuck. Otherwise, like, this game's real easy if I have a few more mana sources. So I can just, like, bridge, pitch Spirit Guide, and then, like, have Batterskull not attack me or my Karn. That's quite strong. Awkwardly, if I do that, I can't really wish for anything other than, like, Relic of Progenitus. Otherwise, it just, like, gums up my hand. Am I willing to get my Ensnaring Bridge Swords to Plowshare? No. And I really hate that I'm throwing away a mana to protect myself, but it just, like, protects me from bridge for, like, or, like, it gets the bridge active and protects my way that I'm, like, going to, like, long-term keep their resources away from my, like, Painter and Grindstone. And so I think it's an okay trade. The other way is to play towards, like, just, like, let the Karn go and play towards having enough mana to just, like, Painter with, like, a red blast up, but eh. I'd love to draw a land. If I draw a land, I can go, like... That's actually a problematic draw. That does things. Because it now means that they can attack for the Karn for 3, which means if I minus the Karn, it dies. It's actually very bad for me. If I plus on the Batter Skull, all I accomplish is, like, knocking the germ off of it, which is something. I may end up doing that anyway, rather than taking a card. Because I don't have any pieces of the... Or no, I do have a Painter's Servant in the sideboard that I can wish for. I think what I'm going to end up doing is play Painter minus Karn, play land, Painter again, and then just need to draw a land to win the game. That will allow me to play around a Swords to Plowshares type effect. I also could just, like, get another Painter and not cast it. What are you doing? Destroy the Grindstone. Okay. Do I have a Grindstone in the sideboard? I will need blue. No, I already wished for my Grindstone, unfortunately. I probably want to cash in the Karn for a card this turn. Because, like, these Noble Hierarchs and Stoneforge Mystics can attack through my bridge forever. I don't want to get Relic because I have Goblin Welders, and that matters. Another Painter's Servant is kind of medium. I think my line is next turn play Imperial Recruiter for Grindstone. So let's just cash this guy in. Let's turn him into a card. This puts a fourth card into my hand, which is inconvenient. All right. Now I need to draw land again. I should probably just have not gotten a card out of the Karn and just accepted that card disadvantage. I regret that play. Like, just plussing the Karn on nothing would have, you know, made them attack the Karn. And I think a couple points of life is better than this second Painter. But maybe that's short-sighted. Unclear. Hmm. Why are you responding with that now? Like, you can respond... Oh, that's why. I guess technically that plays around a Pyroblast, Simian Spirit Guide if I had 2 cards in hand, but otherwise that doesn't matter. But it's not like it costs him anything, because there's nothing I can really do. I'm also going to hope that they don't have more than 1 EE, because I'm essentially just playing out every single thing that I draw. Fiery Confluence would be a pretty hot draw in a turn or two, by the way. Note that Noble Hierarch having 0 power means that the Mycosynth Lattice lock is not just hard. Jete counters also mean that Bridge is looking silly. What am I doing with this Karn? The Karn is going to get smacked and die. So I can have 0 cards in hand, in which case a Noble Hierarch can attack it for 2. Oh, so maybe it won't die. Ooh. Ooh, I like that line. Because I can't move the Jite due to Karn's static ability. Game on. Game on. That was good. Another Daze here is just... devastating. Well, I played around Daze so well at the beginning of the game. Yeah, crap, they figured that out. It was very obvious, but having a Jite on a Hierarch is amazing for a number of reasons. Yeah, another Karn would be great. Fiery Confluence, not amazing now. Am I just dead? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So not technically dead, but very, very badly burned. So I think they should only pump once here. Oh no, that doesn't matter. I was thinking like Jete minus kill an animated ensnaring bridge, but they can't use the Jete counters, that happens anyway, so they should pump twice. Alright. I thought we were going to win that one. Like, even despite the fact that I was just really stuck on mana, I thought I was going to wiggle through. Like, the deck felt powerful. It just didn't come together in those dazes at the end. Were devastating. Hope you all are having a great morning, by the way. Full Modern Horizon spoiler is out. It's just absolutely insane. It's like, just kind of go back to this for a minute now. Like, there's so many cards that are going to see play. A couple of them will have high impact. A lot of them are just going to be like cool sideboard options. But, like, between War of the Spark and Modern Horizons hitting back to back, it's a huge period of flux for Legacy. Like, even now, prior to the release of Modern Horizons, things haven't really stabilized yet, and people are still experimenting and learning, and then we're getting another shakeup right in a row. I think that Nullrod Oofy, question mark on pronunciation, is very good. I think that is a great addition to the toolbox that various Green Sun Zenith decks can bring to the table. Keep. I think I'm a Planeswalker control deck this game. I think I just want to draw a soul land so that I can curve, like, bridge into Karn / Chandra in whatever order seems appropriate. So I'm going to bottom that, even though, like, that's what my deck is wanting to do. Yeah, I think, like, the deck building cost of throwing that as a one-of... Oh, man, are we going to play against Ant again and just get bodied? Feels like yes. Like, the deck building cost of throwing that in a sideboard slot that previously was some other artifact hate spell is, like, so low. Honestly, I'm going to play out this Lotus Petal here. Really hoping my opponent is not Storm. Like, if there's some sort of Delver deck that has just, like, led on a Ponder, I think there's hope for us. Because the Blood Moon might just lock them out. But if they're Ant and they, like, get a basic Swamp... Oh, no. Alright. So if they're just fetching out a Valk, that's probably Delver. Like, I don't know that Grixis Control would fetch like that. What's the bait card here? I don't think it's Grixis Control. I think Grixis Control would have fetched a basic there. If this is Delver, then I think I want to use Ensnaring Bridge as the bait card in hopes of resolving the Blood Moon. If they haven't played a threat in 2 turns, they certainly have a counterspell of some nature. So here's my bait spell. Oh, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime support, by the way. 11 months now. Like, coming up on a year. Thank you for that. It means a lot. Like, it means that I'm getting to do what I love to do. Is it actually Grixis Control? This is so weird. Twisted Raptor, it's actually its own independent client. So, like, you download it through Magic Online's own website. There's a separate program for playing Magic called Magic Arena. I'm not sure how that one is downloaded. Alright, it is Grixis Control. Oh, it's also just through Magic Online. I didn't know if they used a client. I have not downloaded Arena. It doesn't have Legacy, so not for me. Hey, you got another Force of Will over there? Because if not, this feels pretty good. Yeah. That is a big fish. Hey, you know what, big fish? There's this bridge here. And it's very good at stopping you from attacking. You're probably just gonna, like, end a turn, K-command me, make me discard, blow up the bridge, and I'll be slightly sad, but... if not, I'm just gonna get to look at a fish for a while. If I draw a land, I'm still in pretty good shape. Like, I get to Karn minus, play a bridge. I don't care about this Baleful Strix. Yeah, I won't even Pyroblast that, I don't think. I'm still on a 3-turn clock from the Gurmag Angler anyway. I'd much rather tag a cantrip with this. That occurs. Now I'm in bad shape, because, like, Karn the Great Creator is going to go the way of the dodo. Unless they have a counterspell, in which case they probably take Pyroblast. Alright, so they have Snapcaster Thoughtseize available, so that does mean I have to take this out. It's a good use to force the Pyroblast on their end. So what does this do if I play it? It kills a Baleful Strix. No, the better way to look at that is it kills the Baleful Strix and gains me 5 life. Never mind, it gets the Spell Pierce out of their hand. Opponent is doing a really good job of not having, like, spot removal cards in their hand that I've blanked with the way that that hand played out. Alright, Planeswalker. Yes. Want that. Probably want to leave combo pieces and lattice in the sideboard for sure. That's coming in. I'll probably just bring in a relic to cycle for other things. And I'd consider bringing in Trinisphere to just slow my opponent down considerably. Despite the fact that they had a Gurmag Angler, I think Ensnaring Bridge isn't really where I need to be in the matchup. Like, they have a bunch of small creatures. And I think a lot of times, if I get 2 Karn activations and then they, like, happen to pick it to death with Baleful Strix and Snapcaster, I think I'm okay with that. If I need to wish for one, you know, endgame, that's fine, but I think I'm more likely to win this matchup via actually comboing off than by, like, turtling up with Planeswalkers. Cratermaker seems like slow removal, although I'll lose access to Imperial Recruiter-based removal if I take that out, but I think that's fine. I could also board in Spyglass for Jace. Let's board out Magus of the Moon. It's just not going to be reliable since my opponent has, like, Lightning Bolts and basic lands. I think the moons themselves are still probably fine. I think when I'm on the draw, I'll trim a moon for a Spyglass. I will be keeping this. Like, we get turn 1 Painter into turn 2, like, Pyroblast their land and play Monolith, probably. Well, I guess it could also just be turn 2 Karn. Regardless, I think it starts out with, like, turn 1 Painter Servant off Ancient Tomb. I don't think I need to like play Grim Monolith on turn 1 or anything. A Thoughtseize would poke a hole in my hand. Like, Thoughtseize would probably go and take my Karn, but then I would get to Pyroblast their land. Do I win next turn? So I can go land, Pyroblast Island, play Grim Monolith. Next turn, 4 mana for Karn, 1 mana for Grindstone. No. I don't just win. But I think it's very, very good. Alright, so we trade Pyroblast for Force of Will. They pitch an Underground Sea. Good stuff, opponent. I love it. Wait, I don't think I counted my mountain in my calculations. I do just win if they don't have a counterspell. Or something else that interacts with it, I suppose. So 4 mana Karn, minus 1 mana Grindstone, 3 mana Activate. Alright, and we just win. So I think I said I was going to do something differently on the draw. I think on the draw I was thinking about Spyglass for Jace. But honestly, maybe it's supposed to just stay in the board. Makes, like, this essentially my package. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. This hand's fine. It's not, like, super impressive, scary, going to kill you immediately. But a turn 2 Trinisphere into a turn 3 Planeswalker is a pretty good curve out. I assume I lose the Trinisphere here. But I might just get it back with Welder very quickly. Fireblast is an okay draw. It's an awfully long pause. They have Force. I would be willing to trade most artifacts that I could draw to put this Trinisphere in play currently. Except Painter. Painter would mean I can just, like, Pyroblast one of their lands. Death by 1,000 cuts may occur. By that, very specifically, I mean the Koth Ultimate. Ugh. Opponent's very good at drawing what I assume is a 1-of Gurmag Angler. So, Rob, like, the way I'm going to have to sequence my lands to play Koth is I'm going to need an Ancient Tomb and a Mountain. If I had played an Ancient Tomb the previous turn, I still would have had to have played the Mountain this, like, last turn, so I had red. So, like, it doesn't really matter whether I play Tomb first or Mountain first. I'm also not sure if I'm supposed to swap this monolith for a Trinosphere right now. I feel like the answer is no. Because I think I'm going to want to try to use this Pyroblast as a protection spell. My opponent has plenty of lands. Well, this is very good. So this is going to be like Karn and get Ensnaring Bridge. So I'm going to go Karn, Ensnaring Bridge, leave up Pyroblast, only tap 1 Ancient Tomb. Note, I can't just get the Lattice here yet. Because I need to stop the Gurmag Angler first. Is this the point where I just swap the monolith for Trinosphere? I think the answer is yes. To decrease my opponent's ability to string cantrips together. Bentley, absolutely. You know it. Alright, so that red mana represents K command, which I don't love. Am I just going for it? So I go Karn minus, get Lattice, 1, 2, So I go Karn minus get lattice. Is there any way I can beat their last card being a direct damage spell? Yes, by welding out the Trinosphere for Grim Monolith. Or I guess they can direct damage hit the Karn, and then it's not a lock. But I think I'm going for this anyway. So let's go 3, 4, 5, 6. I can Pyroblast a counterspell, so it has to be K command or Bolt. Alright, I have won the game. Do you think they know I've won the game? Opponent says, GG, brother. Oh my gosh, they had the Lightning Bolt. Or no, they drew the Lightning Bolt for turn. Oh. Whew. That was awesome. Alright, I'm going to take 30 seconds to run to the bathroom, and then we'll go into the last round here. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back. Greetings, everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site for legacy death and taxes. Today we're playing with Mono Red Painter. We're 2-2 right now, although one of our losses in round 3 was very, very narrow. So definitely feel good about the deck. This is a donation deck list, and so thanks to JBentley621 in chat for supporting the stream by doing this. We have sort of a medium minus hand. We have mana. We're missing half the combo. I'm going to keep this because if this was a 6-card hand that was this, I would be perfectly happy with this hand. And like if we draw either of the Karns or a Grindstone, like this hand's very reasonable. I'm not thrilled about this hand, but I accept it. I also think I'm going to slow my roll on this one and not take 2 damage to play out the Painter, or not use the Lotus Petal to play it. I think I'm just going to take my time here. Alright, so we're playing against Delver. In which case, taking my time is going to result in me being able to play around days, which is quite nice. However, these lands, not great. Like, the number of lands I'm drawing is particularly bad because I have this Ensnaring Bridge, which is going to be my way to win the game. It just means that I'm, 4 turns away at minimum from emptying my hand. I'm going to hope to play this bridge around a Spell Pierce effect. A Lightning Bolt means that my Painter Servant is dead, either now or soon. If I were them, I'd probably opt for now, because the longer you wait, the greater chance there is that I can just, That's a very awkward card to draw. So I can play... Actually, what if I play this as a bait spell? What if I throw this into a Spell Pierce? And I actually want to get it Spell Pierced. Alternatively, I could actually just try to resolve it and try to draw a Blast for this Delver. But I think I want to go towards, the guaranteed, bridge with no cards in hand plan. So I'm going to run this into a Pierce or a Force. Divination. Yes, yes. Good. Everything is going according to plan. Note that if this is Blue-Red Delver, some versions are playing a Singleton Abrade in the main deck, which means that the bridge is not a guaranteed win. It is just a likely win. Karn, you say? That is very good. So if I play land this turn, and land next turn, and bridge. Yeah, I can make it so that like the Delver can't attack the Karn if this bridge resolves. Nice. I also just do have Karn minus for a secondary bridge next turn. Ooh, lightning bolt to me. Quite rude. So I have so I have 3, 4, 5, 6. I can have 7 or 8 mana. 8 mana would mean that I can play. Alright, well, I suppose I don't need to make the decision until after I cast the Karn, because I can play Karn, and I can beat A Pierce or A Daze. And I think that's okay. I don't think I need to play around both. It resolved. Didn't really expect that to just resolve with no fight. Gonna get a Trinisphere here. And I'm going to play a Trinisphere around a Daze. Like, my opponent's on 2 lands. If this sticks, like, what are you going to do? Oh, wow. They have nothing. So I have Mycosynth Lattice Lock established on the following turn. Nice. Alright, so we're playing against Blue-Red Delver. Sudden Shock is good, but awkwardly doesn't kill Dreadhorde Arcanist, which is super relevant. Red Blast is good. Trinispheres, as we saw, are good. I'll probably leave 1 bridge in the board. Probably leave those in the board, and I don't think I want any of that. Relic of Progenitus is questionable, but maybe better as a board target. So what don't I want? I don't really want Magus of the Moon. I'll probably trim on at least 1 Blood Moon effect, especially on the draw. Like, having some just to protect my own mana base is probably fine. Although maybe they're just better as soul lands, since I have so many colorless cards here. I keep boarding out the light up the stage. If I want to lean on Ensnaring Bridge, it's not really where I want to be. So whoever I was talking to about, like, is light up the stage good, I think I boarded this out all the time. I don't think there's enough creatures to consistently enable the spectacle, and as red divination, like, I used it as a bait spell, hoping to God that it would get counters that time. So, yeah. I think this is definitely better in something like Burn, where you have more low-to-the-ground creatures. Like, our low-to-the-ground creatures are 2 of these and 3 of these, which can't really get in a lot of the time anyway. And we don't have as many recruiters as previous versions. I think this is acceptable. This is another one of those hands where if I get a walker, this hand's fine. Otherwise, it's very weak. Like, I have mana, but nothing to do with it. I think I'm going to try to find a more stable 6. Yeah, this is about the same. Hoping to scry something big, scary to the top. Accept. And again, I think I'm going to play this one slow. Like, no need to use the turbo mana as turbo mana until the time is right. Like, I don't think I need to play out the Painter Servant on 1. And I don't think I Red Blast cantrips. I think I just Red Blast creatures. Yeah, that guy's gotta go. So there's a lot of ways to play this turn. Don't think I want to give up the city. I think I want to play Mountain. So let's play Mountain Crater Maker. I'll pay for it if it gets dazed. And if it doesn't get dazed, I will use Simian Spirit Guide to just take it off the table immediately. I don't think it's worth giving them a couple of elemental tokens. Like, I'd much rather give up the Spirit Guide than the city, in terms of mana development. That is fine with me. I don't care about that in the slightest. Doubly so now. I kind of want to play Painter and Red Blast their island, intending on using Ensnaring Bridge to beat the Delver. It's just, like, super awkward if they have Bolt. If they have Bolt, they'll bolt it on my end step, though. And then I can just counter it with Red Blast instead of going after their island is probably greedy. I'm not going to do it. A lightning bolt, you say? Oh, my Red Blast will now, I guess, counter that instead. Could nug their island right here. I could do it. It's gotta be good. You already can't attack. But I think it's correct to just play out my land so that I can play out anything that I draw in the future. Like, there won't be any circumstances where, like, a little 1-mana idiot gets through. And I've taken them off of cantripping, so, like, they probably have maybe 2 outs to Ensnaring Bridge. Now I've got the Delver handled, even if they do. All right. I feel like we've got this one. It's not like locked up or anything, but when the game goes long versus Delver, you're absolutely favored. All right, they can start cantripping for their answers now. Yeah, and that card's awkward. It probably means that I need to kill this Delver so that I remain hellbent no matter what. You can't let this card go unchecked. It just wins the game almost instantly against fair decks. If you haven't been on the wrong side of this card before, it's kind of a big deal. It feels like a 2-mana Jace when it actually works and does its thing. I think the game's over if this resolves. We beat soft counter magic, so it has to be Force of Will. It is Force of Will. That's fine. Are you fetching the Thin? Seems incorrect to not fetch basic island if that's the case. Oh no, you probably only have 1 if you're not doing that. I take that back. I will Pyroblast nothing. Yep, that's fine. Like I will just Pyroblast like any card to get this out of my hand, rather than give them another cantrip with this guy. That's how strongly I feel about letting him do his thing. Note, we can't do that with Red Elemental Blast if we draw that. So that's something I need to be aware of. Is No Rod even actually that good against me? Like, it's obviously stopping this, which makes some of the soft permission better. But I can still just, like, bully you with Planeswalkers. I suppose you have to have something over there. So how can I take a Null Rod off the table? Do I use my Crater Maker yet? I have used my Crater Maker. That's a little inconvenient. They're going to be a long game now. That seems great. Do you have Spell Pierce plus days? Or is this just you getting an elemental token out of the deal? You do have Spell Pierce plus days. Wah, 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 wah. So you're telling me that if this bridge ever leaves play, I'm going to be sad. Do I want Goblin Welder? I think I want Goblin Welder. Like, Painter Servant is obviously great and everything. But Goblin Welder is a very nice layer of protection and can turn Grim Monolith into Painter's Servant, or get me my bridge back at a moment's notice. This is probably a very critical turn for them. That is a shuffle with the Ponder. They might not be able to win anymore. Yeah, this is good. So I'm giving them a one-turn opportunity to top deck a way to destroy Ensnaring Bridge by doing this. But I'm really afraid of this guy. And they can't kill me even if they destroy the bridge. So I'll just, like, get it back and take a bunch of damage. And I think that's fine. I think I have plenty of time to answer the Null Rod. Like, I don't think I'm worried about that card. However, I think that if my opponent drew some 1-mana thing that destroyed an artifact, attacked with the Arcanist, and then destroyed another one of my artifacts, I might not make it back into the game. So I just get Mycosynth. Lattice next turn and win. This was a bad plan. Stupid Null Rod. I was thinking, I'll just use this to get rid of the Null Rod, and that's not how that was going to work at all. Alright, you have a Force of Will. That's okay. That being said, this might not actually have been a misplay. So if I minus... If I get this Mycosynth Lattice, they can't cast any more spells except for Force of Will. And then I just need to blast the Null Rod in order to win. But I also can't Goblin Welder anymore. Is this all fine? Yes, because I can't lose. Winning may just take a very long time. That's an okay place to be. So first, I won't be able to cast anything either. That is a problem, yep. That is bad. Well, they'd lose first by milling, but they should be able to... Like, I'll draw enough cards so that they'll be able to attack with these things. I need to just leave this in my hand. I messed up. I need to get a blast first. Yeah, 100% a punt. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Karn, Nullrod on the other side of the table, Mycosynth Lattice interactions. This has not come up before. I hope I didn't punt this one away. But it feels like I punted this one away. Something that can remove a creature would also do it, because I can, like, plus turn it into a creature and then nug it. Yeah, they don't have another artifact in there. I don't think they were supposed to necessarily wasteland me, because it takes them off of hard casting Force of Will and doesn't really do anything meaningful. The other issue here is that my opponent may just accrue enough elemental tokens to attack through my board. Natural mill may occur. No, I think Bomberman's stronger than Painter by a lot. Like, Bomberman is probably a tier 1 deck or close to it. Another question is, like, would my opponent counter this Lattice if I cast it? It's a very real question, right? It's kind of cheeky. So I kind of want to know what they have in hand. So I'm just going to get Sorcerous Spyglass, and I'm just doing this to look at their hand. Let that be clear. So they can force my Pyroblast currently. All the other cards don't matter. I still think I'd take the trade. No, I do it on their turn. because it gives them 2 elementals, and if I do it this way, the elementals can't actually attack. So, like, this guaranteed gets the force out of hand. Do you just want to create elementals at the cost of 1 card each? Because holy crap, do I accept that. This means your brainstorms are, like, so much worse. Daze, Pierce, Force Pitch, Daze. Yeah, so there go all the cards I knew about. Or no, they still have Spell Pierce. No, Daze, Pierce, Force Pitch, Daze. I saw Daze, Daze, Force, Pierce. Why do they have 1 card left? I have missed something. Oh, a land. Okay. From the Daze. There we go. So I think I need to turn this into a dude. Just create 1 more blocker for tokens. Interestingly, I can Spyglass every other turn to see what their hand is. That's kind of adorable. And Pro Peeves, thank you very much for following. I hope you're enjoying the ramifications of my punt. How many blast effects do I have left? 1. So I've used 2, which means I have 5 remaining. I have a decent chance to draw 1. How many Force of Wills have they used? Because that's the only relevant card in their deck. They've used 1. They've used 2 Force of Wills. And they did not shuffle. Trinisphere. So I have more blasts than they have forces. However, it's possible I will just get overwhelmed by elementals. This is a braid even targeting. Targets Goblin Welder. Well, there's not a lot I can do about that. No, I forgot to activate Karn. Which is relevant. It means I take 1 more point of damage if my opponent attacks. Alright, give me a blast. I also think they should have killed the Karn, because they don't have a Grindstone in play currently. I think that's a very big misplay, because they're dead to a blast. Thank you. I mean, they're dead to a blast on so many different levels. Do I kill him now? Or do I Mycosynth Lattice lock him? That's the real question. I think I'll kill him now. Yeah, if they sideboarded an Emrakul, boy, would they have gotten me. Okay. So, I could have, won that game, like, literally 20 turns ago by not just, like, putting my Mycosynth Lattice into my hand like an idiot, but we recovered anyway. Like, we had the inevitability there. I think our opponent could have played a little bit tighter, but who am I to say that given, like, the absolutely egregious misplay that I made that, like, almost cost me cash in that league. Okay, so, like, let's kind of talk about how this felt. Light Up the Stage felt terrible. I sideboarded it out, like, every single match. I don't think this should be in this shell. I would rather have, like, 1 more Imperial Recruiter and 1 more tutorable target, I think. Like, maybe a Goblin Crater Maker, or maybe a PNK. But, like, I want something else that removes creatures and or artifacts in the main deck. I think that's really important, because you're not always going to foresee all of the situations that you can get into in post-sideboard games. And, like, I had 1 easy answer to Null Rod, right? Like, my easy answer was Goblin Crater Maker, and that was already in the graveyard, and it was a huge problem. Like, if I had a second Crater Maker, you know, an earlier Recruiter could have basically won me the game on the spot. So I think that's big game. So I think -2 light up the stage, +1 Crater Maker, +1 Recruiter is good for the main deck. I think the rest of the main deck is fine. I think this Karn is medium as well. This could maybe be something else. Like, I think this is a little better in Red Prison than here, when you have, like, a few more things that might be sticking around, like the chalices and such, to make it better. But, I don't know, maybe with a Painter Grindstone package, like, the artifact counts about the same. But I'm not 100% sold on this Karn in this shell. As far as the sideboard goes, I don't know that Relic is a good fit for this deck, since I have my own Goblin Welders. Like, I get that Tormod's Crypt isn't necessarily always the piece of graveyard hate that you want, but it's hard to imagine a scenario where I want Relic over Tormod's that Ensnaring Bridge couldn't deal with. Like, the obvious case for Relic of Progenitus is Tarmogoyf, but your Ensnaring Bridges as a tutor target should be just as good, if not better, there. Dobots, we went 3-2. Almost a 4-1. But we hit a bad string of draws in, what was that, round 4, round 3? And didn't get there. So, like, cards I wouldn't touch from the sideboard. I would not move any of these 10 cards. I think this stuff's all very good. These remaining ones, I think these can be changed. Specifically, I would like Sudden Shock to be something that deals 3 damage. Dreadhorde Arcanist is the real deal, and I hope you've seen that watching Legacy content recently. And I think if your sideboard removal can't kill that card, it's bad. So I would like to see these changed to Abrades. So I'd like -2 Sudden Shock +2 Abrades here. The Fire Confluence is probably fine for matchups like D&T. I don't know what this Relic should be, but it shouldn't be Relic. I just want some other tutorable bullet here. Like, if you want to get cute and throw the LED, like, in the sideboard, that'd be totally fine. Or even just some alternative win condition would probably be acceptable. Like, this is maybe the best example, but something like Wormcoil Engine, where it's like, oh, I have a Karn and a kind of empty board and a bunch of mana, like, oh, Wormcoil, like, deal with this. That wouldn't be the worst in the world. I also feel like the deck is a little light versus Storm combo. So I wouldn't hate something else for that. Those are kind of my thoughts. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I will be back Monday night with Bomberman. I got a Bomberman donation that I'm going to do, and my next stream after that will be another Omniscient stream of some nature. I've got the deck list, I just don't remember the exact details right now. If you enjoyed today's content, please follow. I'm a teacher, and I'm off for the summer, so I'm going to be streaming a lot of Legacy. And if you're really enjoying my content, please do something to financially support me. I'm not working, more or less, for the next couple of months. So you can do that by subscribing to my channel or doing a donation deck list. $12 gets one of your sweet decks on stream. And by the way, really looking forward to donation deck lists with the new set. There's so many awesome cards to try out, and I'm super, super excited about it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to Arkin, who is the only other Legacy streamer right now. Good afternoon, folks, and have a good one. Let's raid Arkin.